This is ITV. Edmonton's news is next.
It's Friday, May 27th. Tonight's top story, the final frontier.
Goodbye, Jean-Luc. All good things must come to an end.
Edmonton says goodbye to the Star Trek series. Then Jean Chrétien talks to the party faithful in Edmonton. Plus, she was told she'd never walk again. And be careful what you say at the donut shop. The walls have ears.
Now, ITV News at 10.
Good evening. Gord has the night off. After 7 years, it has come to an end. If you've been watching ITV for the past 2 hours, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. The last episode of Star Trek The Next Generation has come and gone, and Trekkers all over Edmonton gathered together to see their favorite characters for the last time. Bruce Frisco is standing by live at a Star Trek party in South Edmonton. Bruce, what's the mood like there?
Well, Jackie, let's call it somber but satisfied. As you mentioned, the end of the road, I guess, for a show that has truly gained a cult-like following, really not just in Edmonton, but truly around the world. Now, the departure of the show, the final episode of the show, will undoubtedly leave an empty spot in the hearts of fans around the world, and Pat Kroskoff has more on that.
It was the last voyage in the final frontier. After 7 seasons going where no one has gone before, Star Trek The Next Generation has reached the end of its television existence.
If you have a problem with any of this, I need to know it now.
Earthbound Trekkies are stunned by the end of the series. Curtis Van Dale hasn't missed one of the 178 episodes of Next Generation.
Because you get to know these people over seven long years, and you develop a certain amount of attachment for them, even though they're just fictional characters. It's like reading a good book over and over again, and then someone taking it away from you.
This is madness.
I can't let this happen.
As many as 20 million people tuned into the sci-fi series every week, and Jean-Luc Picard and crew picked up 16 Emmys while exploring strange new worlds.
When it first came out, I didn't have much hope for it, but as soon as I saw it, I mean, it had humor, it had compassion, it had some great humanity to it, and it was just escapism, and there's nothing wrong with that.
We have to cancel the mission.
The cast and crew of the Enterprise will live long and prosper, if only on the big screen and in reruns.
Goodbye, Jean-Luc. All good things must come to an end.
Even though it's the end of the series, Star Trek will live long and prosper, if only on the big screen and in reruns. Pat Kroskoff, ITV News at 10.
So there it is, some mixed feelings about the end of an era, the end of Star Trek The Next Generation, but of course fans looking forward to the upcoming movies, and they still have Deep Space Nine, and they still have the original series, and you know that Star Trek The Next Generation is going to be around forever in syndication. Nevertheless, the party here, just one of many parties going on throughout Edmonton tonight. We knew of 3. We checked out one at the Elephant and Castle earlier on tonight, and let me tell you, it was a wild one.
Space, the final frontier.
They beamed in to watch their favorite show beam out into television history. Nearly 300 die-hard fans crammed into a downtown pub to say goodbye and enjoy such intergalactic treats as Vulcan leaf dip and Romulan ale.
Hey man, I'm eating.
But there's more to being a Trekker than simply good eats. A lot more, if you ask them.
Well, it's got to be the idea, the fantasy that maybe that's one day where we're headed, and it's just a bit of an escape from today's reality.
I used to love space, and I'm never going to be able to go there, so it gives me a chance to go into space and to travel places, and it gives me a wonderful crew to go there with.
Well, it's basically what we want our society to be. It's what it stands for and all that.
Enterprise to Shuttlecraft Galileo. You are cleared for arrival in Shuttle Bay 2.
Acknowledged, Enterprise.
But the show itself stands for more than a set of ideals. It's also been pretty entertaining. While Trekkers may not have the best taste in clothes, they know what and who they've liked.
Jean-Luc Picard.
How
He's the sexiest man on TV.
Something about that man.
Could it be his lack of hair?
No, just strong and silent type, and just, he's a real man.
Worf, because he's, I don't know, he's a man's man.
My favorite character would have to be Deanna Troi.
Yeah?
Yeah, I even named my daughter Deanna Troi.
And he really did name his daughter Deanna Troi. I actually had a look at his Alberta health card, and that's what he calls her. Anyway, we are joined now live by Lawrence Justice, First Officer Lawrence Justice, charter member of the USS Bonaventure, got it right this time, fan club here in town. So tell us, Lawrence, what did you think of the final episode? Of a lot of hype around it.
Well, I thought it was very well done, very well acted. A lot of good special effects was done. I think and I hope with other fans it met everybody's expectations.
Yeah, what's next for Trekkers? I mean, the series, of course, off the air now. You still have Deep Space Nine, but is that enough?
Well, we know what's coming out with The Next Generation is the movie around November this year, and they also have Star Trek Voyager, which is starting sometime in January of next year. So it looks like Paramount will continue keeping Star Trek going and going.
Good. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us. First Officer Lawrence Justice, the USS Bonaventure fan club. Anyway, that is it for us and for Star Trek The Next Generation. And Jackie, hope you have a good weekend and live long and prosper.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bruce. Bruce Frisco hanging out with the Trekkers in South Edmonton.
You're watching ITV News at 10 with Gordon Steinke and Jacqueline Clark.
Canada's Prime Minister wrapped up an Edmonton visit by addressing a partisan crowd. Liberals were told there will be some tough times ahead as Canada struggles with change. But one of those changes will not include the separation of Quebec, at least not if Jean Chrétien has his way. Bonnie Fox has more.
It's an easy crowd to work for Canada's Prime Minister, a fundraising sellout at $300 a head. And even without prompting from the media, Jean Chrétien discusses Quebec.
I'm not worried that sooner or later there might be a referendum in Quebec.
He says he'd rather worry about restoring hope to all Canadians. To him, that means jobs. Earlier, the Prime Minister visited one of the projects funded by his infrastructure program. It's to emphasize that putting people back to work and resurfacing the country's social security system remain his top priority. And as Chrétien struggles to prove he is in the country's driver's seat, he also works to shift gears and pull away from dealing with the Constitution. The Prime Minister has his supporters, but other Albertans think he's headed in the wrong direction.
If Quebec separates, it's no great loss. And jobs and unemployment, I think that if we reduce the deficit and got the economy in better order and gave other countries more faith in Canada, then we'd have a lot of jobs.
He knows it's not going to be easy, and he wants all governments to remember one thing.
It should be the people of Canada who is winning when we make that decision.
But it's his policies of job creation and economic regeneration that will have to stand the ultimate test. And he's hoping Canada's past will help to build Canada's future.
And it's why I'm confident that we will remain together, because these fundamental values that have made this country, these values of generosity and sharing, these values of hard work and caring, all that makes Canada one country that has to remain together. And it's why
Bonnie Fox, ITV News at 10.
And still with the unity issue, Bloc Québécois leader Lucien Bouchard was speaking in New Brunswick tonight. He wanted to assure francophones in that province and the rest of Canada that Quebec will continue to champion the rights of francophones, even if it separates from Canada. The Alberta Liquor Control Board warehouse in St. Albert will be turned over to a private company next month. Tibbet and Britton Group Canada will take over this warehouse, which receives and ships about 6 million cases of alcohol a year. Its new owner will officially take over the facility in late June. However, the ALCB will continue to oversee the operation for another year. There's been another murder in our city. A 37-year-old woman was stabbed to death in her home early this morning during a domestic dispute. Police were called to this house just before 2 a.m. The woman had been stabbed in the chest. Her common-law husband had apparently slashed his wrists. Both were taken to hospital by ambulance. However, she died a few hours later.
Well, she was stabbed here once in the chest, on the chest area, and once in the arm while she was sitting watching TV. And I guess the kids must have been sleeping,
because when my wife came up, one little girl about 9 years old was running around the yard here. She was running in, I guess, hysteria.
The victim has been identified as 37-year-old Mary Lorraine Black. Her common-law husband, 27-year-old Louis McCoy, has been charged with second-degree murder. According to police, there were 6 children in the house at the time. 2 of them belonged to the victim. They apparently witnessed the gruesome slaying. 2 young children have been found dead in Sparwood, BC, just across the Alberta border along the Crow's Nest Highway. Police say a 7-month-old girl and her 7-year-old brother were found dead in their mother's home. A manhunt is underway now in the area surrounding the quiet town. RCMP are searching for the children's stepbrother. The mother was also stabbed. She's in serious condition in hospital. The spring's first big thunderstorm rolled into our area last night. Edmonton was spared, but not communities west of our city. This is what it looked like in Alberta Beach. High winds and driving rain made boating difficult. Further west in Evansburg and Entwistle, baseball-sized hail ruined fences, patios, and several vehicles, including an RCMP cruiser. Luckily, it's early for any significant crop damage. Well, Bill, what kind of weather do we have in store for our weekend ahead?
What kind of weather do you want? It's going to be...
Well, I prefer sunny and warm,
I prefer sunny and warm, but it's not going to be sunny and warm. It's going to be sunny for a while, and then it's going to be cloudy and sunny again. It's almost like the weather you get in the early part of June. We're just stealing a march of maybe a couple of days here because we're getting June type of weather, which is completely unpredictable.
A mixed bag of things.
A mixed bag. Thank you very much. I'll use that sometime. A mixed bag indeed on the map tonight, everybody. But the main thing to remember is that no matter what happens, it's not expected we'll get a great deal of rain. We may get some rain, but you won't get anything like we have in Edinburgh and Entwistle last night, where they had those great big hailstones and things like that. We're expecting slightly moderate weather. As a matter of fact, the only thing that's going to change rapidly will be the amount of clouds you have in the sky. So if it gets cloudy, don't worry. If it's clear, don't worry. That's where it's going to be.
Thanks, Bill. And coming up on ITV News at 10, we'll talk to an Edmonton Red Cross worker who's in Rwanda tonight. And a huge fire has been burning all day at a chemical plant in Ohio.
You're watching ITV News at 10. Coming up, Perry Solkowski on sports. Pat Kiernan has your money. And Bill Matheson with weather. Saturday and Sunday at the Brick. Take a year to pay with no interest, no monthly payments or down payment. This 3-piece oak queen-size wall bed includes headboard with mirror back and 2 pier end cabinets. Only $10.98, and you don't pay for a year. This massive 3-piece oak entertainment wall system is just $16.98. And now at the Brick, introducing our new same-day 2-hour express delivery service. Do not pay for one.
This is ITV First News.
Good morning, Edmonton, as you rise and
Take a look at this accident scene. Police say that 3 people were taken to hospital after their car went...
Good news for soccer fans around Edmonton. The Alberta Soccer Association.
The interest rates have fallen again, and of course, this is good news for Alberta
Kevin, you're telling us that the clouds are going to be rolling in a little bit later?
Yeah, they sure are, and of course that means...
Wake up to ITV First News, weekday morning starting at 6.